Hey everyone, and welcome to the Grand Finals Best of 3 between Team Solomid and Cloud9 hi-rez. A lot is on the line here. If C9 wins this, they will skyrocket ahead in the seeding points. If they don't, it'll be dead even between these two teams. TSM is looking to close this week out confidently.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Cloud9 this week, if they win this, we said this at the start of the broadcast as well, it'll be exactly the same situation Dignitas is in, where they'll be 2 weeks clear easily against anybody else that could come up against them. So it's going to be really important to see if Cloud9 can do a repeat of last week and beat off the TSM. Are we doing this now, or are we pretending we're in the same room? Because a lot of people yesterday in North America were like, DM, why'd you keep looking at Bart? It's so stupid, you're not in the same room. Like, I'm in England and you're in somewhere American or something. Yeah, go again. Go put some more lipstick on. It's fine.
God, just ruining freaking everything.
I'm sorry.
Trying to build an atmosphere. Trying to build an atmosphere that people can just be a part of. And just throw me under the bus, man. Just throw it. God, you know what? Just gonna freaking. You know what? Here. Just like that.
Oh wow, that I can see it now.
Oh, yeah,
that's what chat was talking about. Wow.
Right? Isn't it beautiful? So we're going to get the first game of the best of 3 between TSM and C9, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the broadcast. And so what we're looking to do here is really kind of just cast our votes and see what is going to happen in this first round. Now, everyone knows the best of 3 is where things happen. The first game sets the tone, sets the pace for the rest of the series. If you can take a very strong game 1, you can slow down the momentum of the enemy team, bring their morale down, and possibly take out a 2-0 victory as we've seen before. Last week, exactly what happened. C9 took game 1. They took game 2 very, very quickly, and so it was a 2-0 victory for them. TSM's been looking very sharp today. However, TSM did lose early game to i5 in the last round and pulled it out in the mid and late game. So if they're looking a little shaky, what's going to happen when C9 really hits their stride?
That's a big point. I mean, i5, we said i5's early game was very, very good in that game overall, don't you think? But when it was really good for them early on, what will happen with Cloud9 is Cloud9 will take that. I can't do that. Sorry, I apologize, stream. I confused now. But yeah, Cloud9 basically in that situation will not make the mistakes i5 did overall. Cloud9 will continue to put the pressure on with that. Your lipstick looks ridiculous now. I'm sorry. You've got like a weird tan as well. You look a bit like an Oompa Loompa right now, to be honest.
I am an Oompa Loompa. How did you know?
Oompa Loompa.
So, I mean, we're
for the guys to get into the game, and there's been a few issues with the server at the moment. I was going to say something very rude, then as per usual. hi-rez, please.
So we're waiting for the follow-up here. So, looking at this across the board, we know that SMEC and Youngbei swap teams, and we talked a little bit about this last week. You saw a little bit of discussion sparking up on the face-off show. And so, is Youngbei a little bit more powerful than SMEC? Is SMEC a little more consistent than Youngbei? Who is the one that kind of pulls it out in the end? And so the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is kind of let us know who you're rooting for in this matchup. Yeah. So if you're sitting at home, say it out loud. If you're sitting in chat, type it out. Of course, if you're watching here on the Smite Pro YouTube channel after the fact, type it out in the comment section down below. Who are you rooting for before this game even starts up? Are you a C9 fan? Are you a TSM fan? And why is it that you root for those kind of people? Because obviously TSM has the fan base coming over from League of Legends now in Smite, but it's a completely different world here. And in the launch event, TSM just completely conquered. Not only did they 2-0 Team Dignitas in the semifinal round, in the round of 8 of the launch event, going in the the winners bracket, going into the grand finals. TSM again 2-0'd Dignitas again in the grand finals to win their victory. Of course, not taking a single game off of their history of that event. So definitely a lot of favoritism between the two, but I feel like these are the top European players to watch. Not even teams, it's just players, because every single person on these two teams is just absolutely phenomenal.
I mean, every single matchup, every lane matchup is crazy on paper. When you look through them, it's like those people facing off against each other in every single game is crazy. You've got Lobster on the side of TSM, and on the other side you've got Sayo from Cloud9. Like, that's a crazy matchup. In the jungle, you've got Kiva Fred versus Suntouch, and then you've got Half Devil versus Trix Tank. That one for me is like, other than SMEC, all the talk is around SMEC at the moment, and Youngbei with the transfers between the two, but Half Devil and Trix Tank. For me, they're the two that make the AD carries what they are.
Best of threes are hard to kind of gauge. It's really difficult to kind of figure out what's going to happen here, how are things going to work out, if they're going to work out at all. It's really difficult to kind of figure that out.
say good. Oh, Drybear, are you still with us? Are you okay? You're looking a bit under the weather. Nope. Drybear has left the party once again. Guys, we're in a bit of a break at the moment. We're waiting for the teams to get ready. There's been a few little minor hiccups with the prediction today and also with getting this game started. So we will be right back momentarily once we get everything back. I'm Hindu Man, and alongside me is Drybear. Hashtag SWC. Get on Twitter now and say who you think's going to win this one. Your tweet will come out on the bottom half. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, and welcome back, and thank you so much for being patient. We're getting underway with the grand finals here. TSM versus C9 is about to start up. How you feeling, Hindu?
I'm fine. I'm hyped. At the same time, it's been a very long day for my first opening cast, but the games so far have been fantastic all the way through. So going into the final, it's the big matchup, Dry.
It's a huge matchup. This is kind of like what settles things going forward. If TSM is able to win this, they will tie up and be good to go in the future. But if C9 wins again, they're going to skyrocket up to 200 seeding points, whereas TSM will be stuck with 120. That's an 80-point gap. That is twice the amount of a first-second separation. So TSM would need at least 2 weeks to recover from what they lost here today. So the question is, will TSM be able to pull this out, or will C9 be the victors today?
Well, to look at it from this point of view as well, you've got to think about the fact that if TSM do win this one, I think every other team that is a contender wants TSM to win this one, just to make sure the gap isn't too big between all the teams. They're looking to try and keep it tight. So I expect to see teams like i5 and Worth Gaming and such will be like, come on TSM, pull this one out for the rest of the teams as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is you kind of like, a lot of teams will live vicariously through other teams and try to put themselves in that manner. And so what you're trying to do with it is just realize, this is a big competition, right? You have 12 weeks of qualifiers. You're leading up to the regionals, and the regionals will set the pace for everything else. Now, teams that don't do so well in the qualifiers have the opportunity to come back in the wild card and kind of come and, show their stuff as they make it into the playoffs. But, this is such a long road. There's not really much room for mistakes.
No, there isn't many room for mistakes in the grand scheme of it, so we'll have to see how this one's going to play out over the course of the game. I mean, game one last week between TSM and Cloud9, they picked Zhao Wei Zhao was playing for TSM last week, so that could have been a factor in the fact that Cloud9 won, as well as the fact that obviously the Hunters changing between the two of them. But it's interesting to see what will happen next now that we've got Cuba Fred back in the jungle for TSM. He is their staple main roster member in the jungle, and with not Zhao Wei Zhao there, maybe the communication's a little bit different than last week.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, you look at the jungler, can they get to start early? Does the support roam around enough? Are they able to pick up, early kills? Are they able to get the mid camps now moving to 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes? It means that they're going to be able to do a lot more with that time. They have an extra minute to kind of roam around, control the mid lane, control the long lane, try to get some ganks across the way, and sometimes even slow down the farm that Hunters have by A, harassing them, and B, kind of having the support come back and leech some experience and gold.
Yeah, I mean, the supports will soak more as it goes on as well, so that will slow the game down ever so slightly from the Hunter's point of view. On top of that as well, like every single week, pretty much we'll see different patches. We're going into picks and bans very, very soon. But what we'll see is that different patches will show teams to be better in those situations. Maybe last week, Cloud9 were in a great spot because of the fact that they had the support that was better at rotating at 2 minutes. Maybe we'll see from TSM this time. Amtrix Tank can make sure he takes away those 3 minute and at Harpies.
So here comes the pick stage coming out live here. Zeus going to be the first one banned out right off the bat. So they're going to be controlling that out here. So the ban for TSM going to come out any second now. Odin, Senu Kong, always great ban. Apollo, Ur, Bastet. Looks like Odin's going to be the first one.
Are you shocked? Are you shocked after Half Devil last week on that Odin? No, please. He's definitely going to get banned out right now. So that's a very, very good ban, obvious ban from TSM there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You really don't want to let that one go.
So Zeus gets banned out as well, so they don't want to deal with that one. But Bastet's still on the table at the moment. Will Cloud9 choose to ban that one out, or will they make force Team Solomid to do so? Because Bastet, we've not really seen this tournament so far. We did see it quite a few times in the later stages of the tournament in North America yesterday, but Ull has been the ban from Cloud9.
Ull is definitely a great ban. It's not the best ban ever, but it's certainly a character you don't want to have, considering the fact that he can scale very quickly. He has built-in attack speed modifiers, he has built-in damage increase, he has built-in movement speed, but also has a good stun for initiation, so a great character to grab out there. Looks like they're going to be hovering on Senu Kong across the way, which is surprisingly enough, honestly, Sun Wukong was Halfdevil's first character, so he moved to Odin, played him out of 5 out of 6 games last week, and dominated, and now he has to fall back on his better character, Sun Wukong. He's played longer. I'm okay with that. I'm sure he is too.
Well, take into account as well, we saw Trix tank Sun Wukong for 2 games in a row just recently. So you know how good Trix tank is on Sun Wukong, and they mesh so well together that, yeah, at the same time as Halfdevil being a very good Sun Wukong player as well, he also means that Trix tank has to go on something else. I probably expect to see Bacchus. I'm pretty sure we saw him play it last week whenever he couldn't pick up Sun Wukong or Odin.
Yeah, those 2 characters are always a great pickup. We're going to see Hoonbot covered on here. It looks like he is going to be locked in as well. We haven't seen him for quite some time. He's either banned or completely ignored. And you know, honestly, for good reason today. He's actually a great ultimate, good teamfight control, good burst damage. Plus, in the 2 games ago, we saw him blink in with Sacred Monkey and crit right after, doing just about 500-600 damage with just that hit chain right there. So it's huge. Plus, his attack animation has been increased recently to make him even stronger of a character. Raw locked in as well. Across the way, they're hovering on Apollo. I imagine they want to lock this in and go right into the bans.
Yeah, Apollo being taken out. So that means from Team Solomid's point of view, they can possibly look to focus a Hunter ban on Cloud9 here in this situation to try and force them out of having the safety pick in terms of that. So we'll see if they do choose to do that. But I believe, yeah, it's going to be Team Solomid to ban first, I believe. Isis is the ban. Big respect there.
Yeah, I mean, huge. I mean, Isis is a character that seems like has been played very strongly. We know Sio loves Isis, and it's a little interesting to me to see that they were banning out on TSN, and maybe they just respect Sio's Isis more than respect Lobster's Isis. They know they may not be able to pick it up here. Now, Poseidon is still off the board. Actually, that's exactly why they banned Isis. With Poseidon taken out, Isis gone away, Sio has to go down to his 3rd pick, 4th pick before he's able to pick anything up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. So Guan Yu at the moment is going to be the last ban in this situation. We may lose Dry Bear for a moment because he's busy sorting out his more time. So we're into the last stages of the picking phase now. And it's going to be Team Solomid, I believe, are going to be the first ones to pick 1 pick, and then it's going to go back to Cloud9, and they're going to choose. So at the moment, Team Solomid have to choose whether they want to go for a solo laner or a jungler, because Tyr can do both, as well as they've still got the support character to pick up as well in this situation. So we're just going to see. And as I called it a bit earlier on, Trix Tank going to take Bacchus there in that situation. It appears that as the game's gone on, and when Sun Wukong and Odin are banned away, Bacchus is the current go-to support god in situations. And that's because he has great burst damage. He has a very, very weak early game to an extent because he really needs to build up that drink meter, because when he gets the drink meter, the belly flops and the burp get additional effects such as slows and healing reductions, as well as the stun from the burp as well. So Bacchus being picked up and Artemis being locked in for Cloud9, as well as, I believe they're hovering over Zhong Kui right now. Will it be Zhong Kui in the final to go up against Poseidon in the mid lane? Is Sio going to play this? We're waiting patiently. It is. It's going to be Zhong Kui picked up right here to face off against Poseidon. And finally, we're into the last pick. And I was about to say Scylla got all the way through the ban. Surprised we didn't see Scylla go into the mid lane against Poseidon, because we know Scylla has a very rough matchup in the early stages against Poseidon. But at the late game stages, she's great too. But oh my goodness, the switch out, there's going to be no Scylla this game. She gets through. DM Brando will be turning in his grave, because yesterday he sat there and said, ban Scylla. And he was like, who cares about Scylla? We'll take Kronos in this situation. So we're going to see Game Hunter once again, more than likely on the Kronos in the solo lane. Going to be facing off against Ra, I think, in that lane. And Ra's going to have a real big pushing power against that. So guys, we're going to go into a quick break as these guys load into the game. We'll be right back. This is going to be Cloud9 hi-rez versus Team Solomid, your first final in this Week 2 EU tournament.
Stick around, guys. We'll see you soon. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Game 1 of the Grand Finals. You're watching Cloud9 hi-rez up against TSM. Let's go ahead and introduce our players and teams. The bottoms of map, the green grass defenders of the Titan of Order. You've got Cloud9 hi-rez leading the charge is Sio on Zhong Kui. Suntouch is he playing Hoonbots in the jungle. Youngbei on Artemis, supported by his support Halfdevil on Sun Wukong. And last but certainly not least, NQ on Ra.
And on the other side of the map, we're going to see Team Solomid. We've seen them play 3 games so far. Smek going to be playing the Apollo. Lobster on that mid lane. Poseidon. Cuva Fred on Tyr once again in the jungle. Trix Tank this time on Bacchus, because they took away his Sun Wukong. And finally, once again, it's Game Hunter on Kronos.
Kronos is there. So we see him kind of hanging out behind there, looking for an idea to kind of initiate. So we're going to be bringing this together too. Of course, Fire Giant area is going to be covered by NQ Sayo and Suntouch together. Game Hunter hanging in the wings here. He will be playing solo lane with, of course, Cubo in the jungle with Tyr. He played a fantastic Tyr last game, so he's going to try to repeat that success yet again. Looks like the ward was placed down by Trickstank and was not prevented. They do have the Bacchus here, so that's a great pickup for them. Youngbei a little bit far forward. I'm surprised to see them not going for this kill here.
I think they were worried about Youngbei possibly baiting them into a bad fight situation, but they did back out for the time being. Both mid Harpies going to go to the respective teams of TSM and Cloud9 for now, so nothing too unusual for the moment.
Pushing up here. There goes the So Beautiful in the mid camps. Those will be taken out by the Tidal Surge, now forced out here. Left camp will be going to, and the right camp will be going to C9 as well, as the damage buff gets started by Suntouch.
Yeah, Suntouch is going to start that one off for the time being. The speed buff taken away, and for Game Hunter and Kiva Fred, and they're going to take away the blue, so they're going to hit the lane respectively about the same time.
Same time, indeed, as they come through here. NQ and take the blue buff, then going to the right side. Next going to be pushed up here. Sayo taking a little damage from Lobster as the wave gets cleared out completely. There's a Tidal Surge doing a lot of damage to the base text as well. Huge kill left side. Looks like Youngbei's going to take him out on Trick's take. Big pickup there. Now Smek is left by himself. 300 HP to boot, and he's 2 versus 1.
Yep. 2v1 in that situation there. So Smek is going to have the big issue to try and deal and keep up with the XP in this lane and not get pressured out of it for the time being. Half-Dev are going to look to use the Jingle Bang wherever possible. Just going to push the wave in for the time being and try and keep denying Trick's tank. Because one thing about Bacchus Driver is that the longer the game goes on, you need those levels to start being able to use your abilities more often and get the extra effects from them.
Yeah, definitely need those effects, and that's what's going to make or break the early stages of the laning phase here. Smek now pushed into a corner as he's backing off there. Sayo's going to be pushing up towards Poseidon in the mid lane. Big rotation coming out from Humba. Suntouch on the backside here, going to go for those back Harpies. Look at the gold graph right now. We're going to see 399 gold in favor of C9, and it's going to be dead even on the experience as we see the initiation on the left side. Ooh, Half-Devil trying to get the sun. Going to find the sun on Trick's tank, but of course he can belly flop away, and he'll do exactly that.
Yeah, exactly that for the time being. You're going to see TSM play very, very defensively in this lane for the longest possible time, because now that they're behind, because Trickstank fell behind on Bacchus, it's going to take longer for him. Really, it doesn't look much, but it's going to make a difference that he's not going to hit level 4 just quite as quick as Half-Dev will.
You see two in the mid lane looking for Poseidon here. Looks like he's going to be forced out. Lobster and defend this completely. Sayo now going home on Junquei. It's interesting to see them pick up Junquei here, as of course a lot of people in the community will kind of bag on Junquei, pun intended, as he's just not really as good as you think he would be. But at the same time, he certainly is a high damage mage, someone capable of doing a lot of burst damage if you let him. And that, you know, if one person's going to do it, it's going to be Sayo. With his natural playstyle, you can see he's already picked up Purification, beats 3, the greater Purification. He is good to go if you see Hoonbots ever rotate.
Exactly, and the amount of high damage and sustain he has available on that Zonqui, I think a lot of people just take into account the fact that what he used to be like before his ultimate changes. And due to those ultimate changes, it took him out of contention for a little while, but Sayo going to show it's worthy of being in the top flight of competitive gaming.
Movement speed going to be picked up here by Suntouch. The backside, no contention just yet. Right side, we see NQ going up against Game Hunter on Kronos. Now, you know, we saw before Game Hunter go up against Aphrodite in the solo lane. A little bit easier matchup than it was for Ra. Ra, a lot more push than Aphrodite. Aphrodite kind of hits her push prime at a level 7 or level 8, whereas, you know, Ra's going to hit it a lot sooner with that Solar Blessing, Celestial being very strong. Oh, look at this. Suntouch left lane, looking for the bomb. Trickstank has a belly flop, kicking up time. There's the Fear No Evil. Trickstank in the belly flop away. He's not going to be able to do it in time. Does he have the distance? There's the slow, and Jingu Bang right on the back of the head. He's dead.
Yeah, Jingle Bang goes down. Great play overall from Suntouch to make sure they focus on the correct target as well. The one that's slightly behind in terms of XP. Mid camps are respawning at the right time, so they're going to be able to rotate over there and deny some more XP to Trick's tank in this situation. And it appears that's what the focus point is right now, is that Bacchus.
So right here, they're going to push up here. Look, the mid camps are already taken out. Look, ooh, C9 gets out completely. TSM did not see that coming. And now they're going to back off entirely as Sayo goes back towards his tower. Oh, hold on to the jungle. They're going to head on home here. Looking good to go. Looks like they're going to be able to pick this up. 4 minutes into the game, a 2-0 lead for C9.
Yeah, 2-0 lead, gold advantage at the moment. You can see on the graphic, only 600 at the time being. Experience is only 502, and that's basically just a buff difference between these two teams right here. Even though there's a 2-kill lead for Cloud9, just keep an eye as this game goes on. It's all about what happens with Bacchus on that Trick tank on that Bacchus at the moment, because he is behind. He has to catch himself back up,
That's
but
right.
he's not with someone that's that important.
Oh, looks like the Goldfield area is going to be getting taken out by Half Devil. Looks like Trick Snake is in the area as well. Good vision coverage on either side, but we know Half Devil has a little bit of an upper hand by hitting top and bottom of the Goldfield, though the backside there in that little junction point TSM. Trick Tank is going to cover that with a ward himself. Looks like Blue Buff going to be started up by Young Bay and Half Devil. It's going to be taken and for Young Bay immediately. It looks like they're going to head back after playing the wave and then go to the Blue Buff. This is not going to make it to the towers. Of course, no gold lost, no experience lost, no harm, no foul on either side. Pretty even in the Hunter long lane. Blue Buff taking the solo lane as well as Hoonbots jumps over and picks up the damage buff.
Yeah, 4 minutes in and Young Bay already completed that whole Heartseeker right now, and you can see Smek has only just gone back to base and completed his, so Young Bay's going to be ahead a little bit in terms of the stacking item war, but they've both gone for the same item. No Transcendence this time around from either player.
No Transcendence this time either. You know, Spec did like it last time, but he's going to go for the Heartseeker this time around. We know that Young Bay's going to be a little bit aggressive himself, and he goes for Transcendence up against an Artemis who is very good at boxing as it stands. Will end up losing that fight more often than not. Tier looking to rotate over here for the Sun Wukong. Not the easiest target to take out. I think he understands that fact. He's checking the blue buff. Hoonbots is going to spot him out as he runs down through the jungle. Suntouch not looking to fight at level 7 tier as a level 6 Hoonbots, although they do have their ultimates available if they want to use them this time around. Maybe rotating over to the mid lane. Sio is there. He does have greater purification. Keep in mind, so if a Fearless Initiation comes out, you know Silo with those quick fingers is going to pull it off.
On top of that, Suntouch did see him, so he'd already backed him up in that mid lane just to say, hey, I'm here too, don't go trying to be crazy, the things won't go well for you. So everyone's going to back out for the time being. It's a very edgy start to this game, really, overall. Although Cloud9 did get that 2-kill lead, it's still very, very close, and both teams are going to be so careful during these early stages. This is an important game here, Dry. Like, if Cloud9 win this one, then they're really in full control of this bracket so far.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest thing, is winning the first game, especially if you win it very aggressively, is a big, big pickup. Initiation from half to the left side is going to force Smek to Serenade and run away. That's what Apollo's so great at, is when you bring pressure down Apollo, he can, of course, sing his way to victory and to safety as he runs up towards his tower here. Now we're going to see Sun Wukong rotate over the mid lane. Looks like the mid camps will be responding very shortly. Game Hunter is rotating towards the right side mid camp, and Tier, played by Cubo Fred, is going to be there as well. Sio now running up the mid lane to make sure the wave is cleared out before Lobster can get in on the fun. Both camps are cleared out, both of them cleared for their respective teams, and everything as it should be.
Yeah, as it should be for the time being, pretty much even as it stands on the scoreboards. There's not much to talk about other than ward coverage right now. Look how many wards there are from Cloud9. Every single possible entrance or exit for Tier in the jungle is covered. He's going to be spotted every moment he moves through the jungle. Anything aggressive past his speed or red buff is going to be noticed.
Right lane is going to be pushed up pretty heavily by Game Hunter as he gets the jump on this wave. Looks like NQ is on his way back over with that Ra. Beside looking for some damage on Sile, but not going to find it. Looking back on the graphs, we're going to see a 500 gold lead here for C9. Experience is slightly in their favor as well, but ever so slightly. They don't really have a whole lot in their name right now. It's going to come down to the first Gold Fury, or the first really big team fight that TSM C9 meet up to do. Of course, they have a lot of combo potential with TSM, Lobster with Initiation, but at the same time, C9 has more involvement. Chronos is not going to really get there in time, and they kind of need him for their fight. Whereas you look across the way, C9, they don't really need Ra right off the bat, and he has the long distance if he takes a half stroll through the jungle.
Yeah, well, 3v3 could be developing here. Suntouch could get caught out of position here by Cuba Fred, but the Fear No Evil's going to save him for the time being. Half Devil rotating around to give him some support, so a bit of a disengage from everybody. Nice poke out from Young Bay, though, but overall it was just a Fear No Evil down there.
Barrage area is covered by Game Hunter here, as we see NQ kind of rotating over, and it looks like they're just waiting to see if they can, whichever one rotates, they're going to rotate on them and try to get a 1v1 fight and keep it 4v4 in the mid lane area. Looks like the Trident's going to come out from Lobster, trying to slow down Sio, forcing him out. Left side Initiation comes out. Half Devil taking some damage here, forced back a bit. Smek doing a lot of damage with his basic attacks, keeping him out of the zone. And, honestly, I think Young Bay is really embodying what Artemis is, just staying back, staying safe, and coming out in that mid game strong.
Yeah, that's the whole point of what most hunters want to do. That is just farm, and play very, very safe. I mean, Apollo in this situation, he wants to be the aggressor, especially with someone like Bacchus, who's got a lot of burst damage to put the pressure on with the belly flop into the burp combination, followed by the intoxicate. One thing I want to point out though, Drybear, I'm really surprised overall that we've not seen any aggression onto Game Hunter playing that Chronos, because we know his early game is very, very weak.
Yeah, but at the same time, he does have that rewind. Never really had an opportunity to go over there, so they're kind of just leaving him be. Ra will have the damage output there, but with Tier coming over Ra or Hoonbots coming over there, Chronos, especially the fact that he has greater purification, they've certainly recognized that fact. So he'll be able to beads and rewind every single time they go over there with a pretty short cooldown. So I don't know if it's worth their investment unless it becomes very obvious that he's diving a tower or something to that effect. They're kind of focusing on keeping that Apollo down and making sure that they really focus on the mid game strengths rather than the late game carry with the Chronos.
Yeah, agreed. And you can see this from Cubo Fred as well. He's looking and hunting for kills from the jungle when these buffs are down. But every time he tries to, the place is warded up sky high, and his real target, like Zhong Kui, he'd like to go on, but with, already with the beads in the mid lane, it's going to cause a big issue for him to try and rotate on there. And Harpy's about to spawn again. Both teams starting to size these ones up. Actually, they're not going to size them up at all. They're just going to split them off one more time. Again, TSM and Cloud9 just splitting the experience
on top of this one. Ra rotating over towards the mid camp. Baka's coming through here. Poseidon's on top. Kronos is heading on home mode, though, so he's not really looking to stick around too long. Kibo Fred about to finish off that improved blink into greater blink and really get the initiations going.
Yeah, he definitely needs that to keep pushing it on, and just, even though there is wards, just run full tilt, try and get past the ward coverage as quick as possible and put the pressure onto these lanes wherever it's available. But Kronos going back there, as we just saw, as quick as possible. Gonna complete, he's already got the Shoes of Magi finished. He's already working on the Enchanted Ring, so we'll be going through a very similar build we saw from Game Hunter last time round.
Smack going in for a pretty light build here with just Purification Beads, 1, Boots, and Draining Blade, whereas you see Youngbei has the Draining Blade, no Boots, but certainly has Sprint 3 and Beads 1, so a little bit safer in the build there. I'm surprised to see actually Youngbei go for Sprint 3 instead of getting that Purification Beads a little bit higher. One of the biggest downsides of Artemis is if you never get to use your boar for the CC immunity, you're just completely stuck. If Poseidon gets a really good knockup or Chrono Stun or a tier juggle and you don't have any Purification Beads available, maybe he's just putting all his effort into that tier 1 Purification for the next big fight that he needs to be a part of. But we'll see how he can utilize Artemis to her fullest. She's been a very strange character in the history of Smite.
Well, as it stands at the moment, she's starting to see more and more competitive play, especially because of the increasing bans. I think that's been the biggest rise of Artemis, is that because of the ban changes as well, you're starting to see her more played overall because you need to have a deeper hunter pool in this situation. Both the supports are going to meet at the moment. Trick Tank taking the worst brunt of it, as to be expected from Half Devil. But Half Devil needs to be careful because obviously you can see Cuba Fred and Lobster rotating over as well to that side lane. But he's already been pinged out already. These wall placements are so big right now, Drybait. It's making it such a standoff game.
Sao has to push here. Just clear out this whole wave and look for some damage in the mid tower. Force them to retreat back from the left line. If they're going to play this dance and he hasn't rotated, got to push hard. He's going to do exactly that and go right back towards his tower. Goldfury is available. Look for the blink from Tyr. Going to find Half Devil. Gets knocked out by the Ox Form. Beautiful play there by Half Devil. Perfect reaction and beautiful timing.
Yeah, beautiful timing. The blink came out and immediately straight away he was off. Transformations come out and away back to tower. Everything's fine. And now the rotation from TSM here. They're happy to try and go aggressive on the Gold Fury by the looks of it. Or they're looking for a possible pick as Half Devil tries to rotate in, but they don't realize there's a ward where Cuba Fred stood right now.
Untouched forced out here, belly flop. There's a great ultimate coming out. Keep up for a lot of damage. Kraken gonna hit 2, knocking Sedge up in the air. He's gonna take a lot of damage. He's gonna go down himself. Looks like Half Devil's up into the air, taking some defense here. Smack looking for a dunk. Look for the Apollo from above. Gonna land on Half Devil most likely. We're gonna land. Completely missed that one. Just needs it so beautiful to dash through here. Will he be able to pick off Half Devil? Force him a player kill. Smack now 1 versus 1 against Sayo. Sayo's got no cooldowns available. Ultimate's on cooldown. Looking for the damage. Doesn't follow up on this one. Now beautiful retreat by Smack, knew they were rotating over from the mid lane, gets out of dodge, and normally 90% of the time an inexperienced player would have dove right on top of that one, but he gets out using intuition alone. Yeah, 2 for 3 exchange there in favor of Cloud9. They're going to be able to take both these middle camps as well as put some pressure on that mid tower as well. I don't think Sayo's going to have the damage to take it out this wave, but that was nicely done from Cloud9, and they're just going to extend and make a gold lead of about 1.1k now. Experience is just over 2,000 in favor of Cloud9. Nice job of actually just getting a small gold lead from that fight that went in their favor. Oh, mid lane, looks initiation comes out here on Sayo. There goes the damage from Smack. A few shots will bring him very low. Fearless is going to be dodged slightly by Sayo. Good reaction there. The card coming out, slowing down the dunk. Does he avoid it? He does get the damage out, and this needs a little bit. Pops each, and it will be enough. Buckets is burping out him, takes him out with the breath of death. And Kilo Fred goes down in the process due to the card damage from Half Devil as well as the exposed, evil, beautiful play there. And honestly, Sayo did everything he could, and he traded 1 for 1. Yeah, traded 1 for 1 in that situation. Gold Fury going to still continue being up at the moment for the time being. No one's really in a position to contest that for the moment, so everyone's going to back away. These trades are going backwards and forwards between the teams right now, and no one's really coming out overall. I mean, I said the experience was in favour of Cloud9 right now, but I don't think they have a commanding lead of this game by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, looking at the gold differential right now, it's 1,000 in favor of C9, 3,000 experience. It's definitely a big lead for how early on it is, but not big enough for TSM to feel the heat. The tower in the mid lane is being pressured heavily by Lobster right now, tracing all the way down to the center. Boombots is coming through here as well as Half Double. They look for the Kraken ult, going to do a lot of damage. Take him out before Half Double even gets there. Lobster in a 1 versus 1, but he is free and clear. Doesn't look like Half Double's going to have the damage necessary to take him out, and Lobster knows it. Just walks right around him, playing it safe, but definitely a beautiful play.
Yeah, that was really nice from Lobster. I mean, obviously, Suntouch was baiting there in the situation, waiting for Half Devil to rotate round, was a little bit late to the party and got caught out by Lobster, who realised his opportunity and took it and takes out Suntouch in a 1v1 situation.
Rotation out comes in the mid lane. Looks like Sile's going to defend this tower the best that he can. Half Double is here as well. There goes the retreat by Lobster back in the base. Now checking back in the left lane, you can see Smek and Youngbae going head to head here. Looks like Smek is getting a little bit better push out of it. There's the volley, trading some blows here. 1 versus 1. Trap on the ground, not going to be landing here. The So Beautiful doesn't land either. So a bit of a misplay by both players there. Tier looking for Half Devil in the mid area towards the goal for he pops his ultimate early. That's a big win.
Big win overall, forcing that out of Half Devil already in that situation. Once he gets down off that, he looks to go aggressive onto Smek, but Smek well aware of the situation now. But the juggle from Fred coming out onto Sayo, and he has to immediately disengage because Suntouch was closing in there.
Looking for the Gold Fury here, start up by C9. TSM on their way over, looking to counteract this engagement. All players are well around and accounted for. See if they can't contest this. Looks like they're just waiting for something to happen. Trickstank looking to start something. In the backside, Smek now trading blows with Half Devil, actually getting no damage off on him. Keep in mind, the mid tower is also quite low, so if TSM gets a break, they'll get it.
Yeah, very low in this situation with Game Hunter there pushing it in as well. NQ can't rotate back to the right-hand side, which is kind of frozen at the moment between the minions. We'll just see which minion RNG battle wins that one out to see which one has to rotate back over there for the time being. But Gold Fury is definitely a contention point at the moment, and mid tower is very, very low, as you said.
NQ in trouble here, getting slowed out and bursted a little bit by Time Rift, forced back into the jungle, and actually going to start up with that Solar Blessing and heal himself right back up. We do have a little bit of pause coming out here, but looking at the gold difference here, we're going to have 223 gold in favor of C9, 1,000 experience in favor of C9 as well, but TSM is putting their chops in 6-4 here. The gold 30 has yet to be taken so far. No towers have fallen, so this game is, in all purposes, even.
Yeah, for all purposes for the timing, it's definitely even. It's going to be interesting to see who takes this first Gold Fury and if they can snowball off that one as well onto the rest of the game. Mid towers both very low, as you said. So when those two go down, and if they do relatively early, then you'll see the map open up even more, and wards being a bigger importance to this game. But so far, I feel like Cloud9 are doing a great job of warding up to keep Fred from being able to get anyone in his clutches with that Blink Fearless combo.
It's all that Tier is really claiming to fame. I mean, it's waiting for an opportunity to blink in, get the initiation, knock him back, and after that, there's not much he can do. I mean, really, you're wondering, is he going to really get an initiation, and is he not? You have the initiation with the Fearless chain, knocking them back into the teammates, of course, and for one thing I want to mention is that for those of you who are new players, you can't actually beads the first hit. You can beads before and after the first hit, but the first hit is technically a grab, and the next one is a knockup, which can be beads. So generally, if you're slow on the uptick, you don't beads prior to the Fearless hitting, then you'll have to wait until the second hit to be able to beads out of it, but at that point, you're at least avoiding the knockback, which puts you further displaced away from your team.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to pause for the time being, but what can we say about the game so far? I mean, it seems to have gone in Cloud9's favour for the most part in terms of their rotations and the kills they're picking up in these little skirmishes, Driver.
Skirmishes are the biggest part. I mean, you look for the single target damage. Artemis and Apollo both have it. Kronos is going to have it late game. So as far as the carry potential goes, you got to give it to TSM here. Apollo, Kronos, Poseidon, all great late game damagers. Now you're going to have damage from Junkwei. You're going to have a lot of damage from Ra, a lot of damage from Hoonbots, and Artemis as well. So if they fight as a single team, C9 is probably going to have more damage output overall. But TSM really has to play this effectively to kind of outstink the C9 stench as it comes through, and that's really what they're boasting about right now. C9 has the opportunity to take out some huge damage chunks from the enemy. Even characters like Bacchus aren't safe if Artemis gets a single target damage on him, or the knockback, or possibly even the stun from Sayo. If you keep him in place for just a second, the damage is going to be unreal.
And mentioning Bacchus there on Tricksank playing that, you will see as the game goes on that Bacchus's damage is ridiculous to an extent because of that intoxicate damage that can come out, and the fact it's one of those abilities that makes you drunk and makes you lose slight control of your character and wibble wobble around to an extent, and that can really cause issues in team fights when positioning is very, very key, especially at this level of play.
Looks like the mid camps are being started up here by Game Hunter, so gloriously golden as he's sitting back over there praising the sun in front of the mid camps. Definitely a great skin to look at there for Kronos. And as far as the itemization goes, Lobster, of course, can go for the Spear of the Magus. Now, the first item start for Poseidon is a little bit interesting, right? You want to go down towards the Gem of Isolation, which gives you a slow onto the Whirlpool, which is one of the best mechanic combinations in the game, but also limits your damage and penetration. Poseidon needs a lot of penetration to do what he does best, which is burst. And so he's going to pick up Shoes of the Magi for the penetration, then go straight into the Spear of the Magus. And what he's going to hope to do is that, get 1 or 2 ticks out of the Whirlpool before he gets his combo off, because that's going to leverage the passive of the Spear of the Magus the best.
Taking into account as well that Cloud9, NQ, and Sayo have both picked up the Void Stone just because they realize that the magic resistance is going to be important to reduce the amount of burst damage in these teamfights they're going to take from people like Lobster.
Well, especially Game Hunter. Late game, you have a lot of single target damage to stun the burst. And of course, the basic attack is something you always want to be worried about as you move on forward. And so, wondering how things are going to work out. The pause coming out here looks like it is all back and good to go. Everyone is all settled in here. 60 minutes in the match, 6-4. C9 with a very slight lead, but the question is, can they hold on to it?
Can they hold on to it indeed? So at the moment, mid Harpies are down. Gold Fury not going to be contested for the time being. Both teams just looking for an opportunity to aggress and get themselves in a fantastic position to get some picks and turn that into objectives. You can see Game Hunter just doing a lot of pressure on this solo lane, and he's actually doing a lot of damage to that tower very, very quickly. You can always see NQ having to rotate straight back and block as many of those shots to reduce the damage taken.
It's the worst feeling, right? When you're just blocking shots for an inanimate object, just saying, hey, hit me instead, and he's getting hit there. But of course, he does have the healing potential. Now look at this rotation from Suntouch. He's going to be spotted out by Game Hunter. Not much to do there. And also look at the level differential. Level 13 on Suntouch, level 15 on Game Hunter. About to level 16 pretty shortly here, just right as that wave gets cleared up, hitting level 16 now. So, definitely a big differential. Of course, he does have greater purification plus rewind. He's really safe.
Yeah, he is really safe right now. Once he gets the rewind ability and once he's like level 15, 16, like you're talking about now, he's in a great spot to be in a safe position. He's got the movement speed as well to get him out of bad situations. So it's just going to be interesting to see how Game Hunter is going to affect the team into the late stage, because we know Ra's going to be bringing the healing blessing to his team for the extra sustain, but then we're going to have Kronos bringing a lot of damage.
Smack now rushing into that rage he likes to get into very, very quickly. Young Bane.
Oh, aggression and duo.
Right
aggression in the solo lane right now. Rewind has to be used because he's in a lot of trouble here. He's actually going to try and take down the tower before he dies here. Takes it out with the backdoor situation. Got to keep the pressure on. Looking to kill Suntouch in a 2v1 situation. Lobster's rotating over as well. The healing blessing goes on. There's a crack and Suntouch disappears. And we're still seeing that Game Hunter survives in that situation and takes out a tower dry bear. That was a big play.
There's a reason he's called God Hunter. There's a reason he is called God Hunter, and that's right there is what you're going to see. He went straight for the tower. He knew he was kind of out of position there, had nowhere to go, so decides to get something for his indiscretion. Of course, he's going to get the tower, and after that point, he says, I got the tower. If I die, I got something for it. It's worth it. Runs around now, starts turning on the Suntouch. If Suntouch had not used purification beads, Game Hunter would have killed him outright by himself. Great rotation by Lobster and good prediction skills as well, getting there in time, getting the kill off, and of course, allowing Game Hunter to get on home. But this is what I mean by the fact that he's very safe. He has high mobility. He has a good long range and AoE stun, and of course has a lot of movement speed on top of it. So he has a lot of damage to kind of clear it up and the gap to get out of it with the movement speed and of course the ultimate available. Had to use it before, but of course didn't really make him very, very strong. And of course if he ran towards his tower, he wouldn't have gotten a tower and certainly wouldn't have gotten a kill there. So Game Hunter really knows what he's capable of and what he isn't.
Exactly, and talking about what you just said there about the damage, he did rotate over thanks to that kill in that situation. He was able to rotate to mid and take down the middle tower again. So TSM starting to take a lead in terms of objectives at the time being. We can see Suntouch looking for an opportunity as Half Devil goes aggressive. The belly flop comes out from Trix Tank straight away. 72 transformation just slowing for the moment, but the Intoxicate comes out as well, followed by the ball. Trix Tank is the whole world of pain here. He's going to go down in that situation, so that's a 1-for-0 so far. Gold Fury is available for the time being as Half Devil is on it, but Lobster is under a lot of pressure. He tried to rotate around. He's out of mana here. And Sayo's not finished yet. He's chasing at the moment with the ultimate on, but he's going to just force Lobster out for the time being. Cuba Fred is here. Game Hunter has finally turned around. He's looking for the aggression to Sayo. Gold Fury has been done. Cuba Fred gets a nice fearless combo onto 3 members for the time being. Gold Fury is going to go over to C9, and the whole of C9 are going to disengage straight away.
TSM finally had a gold lead there, and it was just taken away immediately by the gold free. You can see it has completely bottomed out now. 48 gold in favor of C9. Beautiful play. Lobster actually would have been taken out there by Sayo if he had a single basic attack coming through there. Of course, try to play the safe road and get out just before he dove into the tower and try to get the kill there on Lobster. So he will survive. A lot of mages kind of surviving by the skin of their teeth today, especially in this match. But, as far as the rest goes, things are looking pretty good for C9, honestly. They got the gold free, now they're a little bit behind in the gold here, actually a little bit ahead. Yeah, no, actually definitely a little bit behind in the gold here, but you know the difference between it is they went a little greedy. You see, Suntouch went for Deathbringer. It's now done, and so when he wants to get in those infused strikes, this passive, they're gonna hurt.
Oh, they're really going to hurt in that situation. For anyone who doesn't know what the passive does, basically every time you use an ability, your next attack will increase your critical strike chance, I believe, and damage.
The next is 50% increase infused strikes and 50% increase critical strike chance on your next hit after using ability can only occur every 5 seconds, I believe. So with that increased crit, it's pretty much guaranteed to crit every time now that he has the Deathbringer. Of course, it's gonna be like 70-80% crit, and I also have a lot of scaling on it as well. So not only will he have the ultimate, he'll have the overhand smash, he'll have the Sacred Monkey, the slow from somersault. He'll also have huge crits, and the attack animation is so good now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the situation on the map right now, everybody's in a weird position. Like everyone's looking for fights. The map's opened up with the mid towers going down on C9's favor, but with the Gold Fury being dead, everyone's just it's all about picks, Driver. It's all about picks.
Oh, it's all about picks indeed, and that's what
and
they're
there's a pick
right now. There's initiation looking for John Quay. Purification beats pop there. Keeper Fred getting close. Whirlpool on the ground. Kraken knocked out. Silas very tanky though. Doesn't take too much. Smek landing on the top, looking for the kill on Suntouch. Can get the damage out on time. That Sphere No Evil is already out, dodging the shots. Game Hunter gets stunned by the boar, but there goes Suntouch taken out already. Half double force back. You're gonna use his ultimate to disengage entirely. He's up into the air. Young Bay, big burst, stun, not gonna have the distance here. Now Tier on the left side, played by Cubo. Fred's gonna land. They're gonna look for a tower.
Immediate rotation from TSM. This is what I like to see. The moment they got those kills, they're putting pressure on the map, taking more objectives away from TSM, away from Cloud9, and trying to open up the map even further in their advantage. They can continue to push here. They can probably get another tower out of this, especially if Tranks considers taking 1 or 2 tower shots. But there is a minion wave with a big minion there as well, so that'll soak up a lot of damage, and that's going to be 2 towers for that fight. That's really big for TSM.
Yeah, it was a tough fight for C9. I mean, honestly, that's usually what happens when you start a fight by one of your players getting caught out by the position and you're trying to recover the rest of the time. Sayo was just surrounded there, and one of the downsides about Zhonghui is that he doesn't have the utility he used to have. He's just damaged now. He's just a big old fat man with a paintbrush just damages people. That's all he really does. He has a little bit of a stun there and a nice slow that lasted quite a while if you do pick up the Gem of Isolation, which he doesn't have. So, once his ultimate was blown and didn't do a whole lot of damage they were expecting him to do, all of a sudden the team fight went downhill from there. Of course, he did pick up that Breastplate of Valor as well as NQ, really trying to avoid the damage from Tier, but mostly Apollo. Kind of keep that down. You have to keep in mind they also have Lobster and Game Hunter doing a lot of damage, and honestly, I think they're just not ready for how much damage Game Hunter is doing already.
No, I think Game Hunter seems to have accelerated himself to that late game stage already, and he's really causing big issues now for Cloud9. They're going to have to keep an eye on him and maybe even try and focus him down. But when you try and focus him down, you've still got people like Cuba Fred on that tier looking to take out your backline or Fearless Chain your whole team. So they're going to have to be very, very careful in terms of that. Quick look at the experience in gold at the moment. It's 2,500 in gold and experience in favor of TSM, and that's all down to that engage and those 2 towers taken.
One thing to make note of as well is the fact that Apollo is a little bit better at including himself in fights early on than Artemis. You see him dunking down from above, dashing through, getting some serenades, good burst damage, whereas Artemis kind of just sits back, pops the boar, and hopes to get a volley off, and really can't commit too hard because if she's caught out of position with no CC immunity, she's going to go down guaranteed. And so Youngbei has to be a lot more careful with how he approaches the fight, whereas Smek, he can jump in with the ultimate, he can serenade, dash away. He also has a lot of great support with Bacchus and Tier running interference, which across the way you have Hoonbots and Sun Wukong, but there's not a whole lot of peel on C9, and so Youngbei really has to be careful with where he treads. I mean, pretty much everything for him is hollow ground.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at this stage of the game as well, I know I keep saying that, chat, I do apologise, I know you were complaining about that, but everyone's starting to hit level 20 now. Like, we're starting to creep to that late stage of the game already at 23 minutes in. Once these level 20 start hitting, you'll see more and more people doing even more damage. I mean, Game Hunter already level 20. Look at NQ, he's hit 22, but in the mid lane, Lobster, level 20, while Sayo is a little bit behind at the moment in terms of experience. He will hit level 20 soon, surely, though.
Lobster picking up a golden sash here to see what he decides to turn this into. Definitely an interesting organization choice, although he does have a lot of damage to begin with. So going for a little bit, more utility, more defense, whenever he decides to turn this golden sash into would be worthwhile for him. He's got the penetration from Shoes of the Magi, Spear of the Magus, and then of course has the Polynomicon for that big Trident burst after he drops the Whirlpool Tidal Surge, and of course the Kraken combination. Gold Fury is available here for either team. TSM a little bit more likely to pick it up considering the positioning as well as the towers. TSM will have the lanes push, whereas C9, especially with no towers on the left side, will have a little more trouble doing that.
Yeah, they have to be very careful if Cloud9 do go and contest this Gold Fury here, that if they do get caught out of position, they could actually lose a Phoenix in that left-hand lane or that middle tower as well. That's the only one standing between them and the middle Phoenix for the time being. So TSM are in a better position for the time being, but Cloud9 can definitely still contest this and cause big issues for them if TSM make a bad misplay at the time. But for the moment, Cloud9 needs to get a ward down there at the Gold Fury so they can keep an eye on it. There is a ward for Trix Tank available that he can put down, but blinking already there, and immediately Sayo disengages.
Pops that purification beads to keep himself safe. So that's now on cooldown. Of course, greater purification has a 90-second cooldown, so a minute and a half still ticking down on that. So if no fight happens within the next minute and 15 seconds or so, he should be able to use it again. But at the same time, you know, we got Rage finished here on Youngbei with the passive still target on Artemis. Crits abound is basically what Youngbei is looking for, and he's going to have it with that Rage. Now we're going to look for a little more damage on the back end, Deathbringer, or maybe something a little bit stronger, maybe some lifesteal there. But Youngbei definitely has a very complete build as it stands right now. Suntouch after Deathbringer go right into Titan's Bane, so certainly a huge teamfight presence here, especially with Fear No Evil. We're going to see what he can do with that as the Gold Fury gets started up.
Yeah, it does get started up and immediately the engage comes out. The Fear No Evil, the Lawbringer, the Intoxicate, all being dropped very, very quickly. Cloud9 actually takes the Gold Fury in that situation. Great play from them, but what cost? Because here comes Apollo. He's looking for the aggression. Youngbei's in trouble, duking out, not going to be enough. He goes on. Game Hunter to secure Suntouch as well. The aggression still onto NQ. Meanwhile, in the Gold Fury pit, the Silver and NQ destroys him. The whole team of Cloud9 gets decided there. They're going to be able to push onto this Phoenix in the left-hand lane, and that's exactly what I was talking about, Drybear. If they do a bad engaging contest, they could lose a Phoenix, and that's what's going to happen.
This is an example of a perfect team fight. They split up the important people, isolated them, and then team fought behind them, completely separate. They're just going to end the game right here and now.
Oh my goodness, that was quick.
GG comes out by TSM, pushing all the way to the end. And if you ever see a perfect team fight, this is what it looks like. Lobster throwing his life away because he just decided, I didn't want to be there when the game ends. But at the same time, Team Solomid takes game 1 against Cloud9. HyperX, you know, if you lose a team fight that bad, that's what happens.
And that's how fast the game can end. Realistically, if your team communicates well and knows what they're doing and you all follow orders, you can end a game that quick from something so simple as that Gold Fury fight. They managed to take out the towers earlier on. Quick Phoenix, quick kill, GG, well played TSM. They're coming out strong in this best of 3, so we're going to be going into a game 2 next try.
That's exactly right. Looking at the damage numbers right now, you see the most in the game is going to be Lobster on Poseidon, 13.3k overall. I think the story of the game is going to be their pick ban phase control. Sayo loves Poseidon. Sayo loves Isis. Sayo used to like Zhong Kui, but has not played him in a while as Zhong Kui has fallen down the tier ladder, bringing him down to a little bit lower level. So by picking Poseidon and banning Isis, they shut down Sayo's control. Odin was gone away. Odin was banned away. We know half the world loves Odin. And realistically, TSM just won the picking banning phase and went into the game and played strong. C9 had a great start, but they never really got off the ground. Suntouch had a lot of great initiation in the beginning, but never really had a chance to do it in the mid game. TSM just played wonderfully.
Yeah, we should have coming up shortly is the last team fight at that Gold Fury, and we'll be able to see what exactly happened. We saw Cloud9 secure that Gold Fury after the engages of all the ultimates going out. So hopefully we'll be able to see that on your screens right now. And you can see all the ultimates being used very, very early during that stage of the team fight, but then Game Hunter chasing onto the back line and forcing them away and getting a lot of damage off. Meanwhile, in the Gold Fury pit, you can see crazy amounts of action going down as Tyr gets some great juggles off for his team, but not to be, unfortunately. I say to be, unfortunately. I should have said I got that one the wrong way around. But yeah, Tyr coming out on top, the whole of TSM performing so well, Driver.
Oh, absolutely. You see here John isolating the Artemis, forcing him away. Smek with the follow-up. And honestly, when you put Smek and Game Hunter together in the back line, taking out all the squishy characters, all the important characters by themselves, you just can't stand alone in open field against two strong basic attack characters with Kronos and Apollo together and expect to come out ahead. They separated themselves so poorly in the last match. C9 basically forced TSM's hand to end that game early, and C9 really has to be careful with how they progress forward. Now, this is what we were talking about for the entire week. Can Youngbei and C9 spearhead their way into week 2 and get a big victory? And honestly, it looked good in the first stage. I mean, they were 2,000 gold ahead. They had a good lead, but when it comes down to push, when push comes to shove here, TSM showed how good they are and how quickly they can take out C9 if they kind of get their little lapse of judgment and relax a little bit too much. So going into game 2, you got to pay attention to C9 and what they're capable of doing and whether or not they can pull it out in the second match.
Well, now TSM have that one game advantage, so one more win for them, and they will secure this week's first place. So we will be going shortly into the game once again, really quickly into the second round of this. But basically, Cloud9 now has to win 2 in a row. That's what it comes down to. They've got to win 2.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about best of threes, right? You have to be very careful about how you end up doing the first game and whether or not you're able to pull it ahead very quickly. So, you're looking at thinking, okay, we lost game 1, whatever, that's gone. We go into game 2, we forget all about that and try to just learn from what we saw in the last match and try to control this. So, going to the pick and ban phase, do you think that C9 is going to try and value those mid mages that Sayo is so great at highly? Honestly, taking Poseidon away from Lobster and giving it to Sayo would be a huge win for C9.
Oh, definitely. I think that's going to be really important for them because if TSM can repeat what they did in the pick and ban phase and force out Sayo onto something that's not being classed as a competitive top tier pick for a while on that Zhonghui, it'll be interesting to see what else he's going to be able to do in that situation because it's very important, I think, that Poseidon pick if they're going to focus on the bans in the mid lane again.
Yeah, mid lane is always a good point of contention for both these teams. With Lobster and Sayo in the the name pool, you really have to kind of pay attention to how those roles are played out. I mean, both very, very strong mages, very, very strong players, and also very strong team players at the same time. So you have to be careful about how much you give them and really kind of focus on how much you can take away from them as you move forward. Of course, you can't give too much credit to the mages when you have great roles like the Hunter role, Smek versus Youngbei. I mean, Youngbei forced into Artemis, and realistically, TSM picked a beautiful team to play against Artemis. The way they were able to zone control the fights and how much damage they were able to do, if they got a good initiation, if they got the jump on C9, it was very difficult for a character like Artemis to kind of recover from that because she does not have the mobility to be able to move around the fight and really kind of make the best of it. She just has to sit back and hope it goes well.
Exactly, and it looked so good early on with the 2 early kills on Trix Tank in that lane. We did see that Artemis did manage to get the Heart Seeker early on compared to that of Apollo, but not to be for them. So we are into game 2 now. TSM are going to be on your left-hand side and Cloud9 on your right going into the second game.
So going into this match, you can see bans are going to come abound here. What would they decide to go with? Do they try to go for specific? Kronos gets banned out here.
Wow.
Game Hunter just got a big shout out. And we know that Game Hunter has a big god pool. I mean, he's the kind of character that can play really anybody in the solo lane. He did Thor because why not? And you try to focus ban Game Hunter is, honestly, my question to everyone in the chat and to you, Hindu, is does C9 really think the last game was won and lost because of Kronos?
I don't know. I guess at the same, you've got to think about it from this point of view as well. I don't think they were happy about having to face that. I don't think NQ enjoyed having to deal with that in the lane. Do you feel the same? I think that's what it comes down to.
I think Kronos is a little bit easier to handle in the solo. I mean, there's a lot of picks that can deal with it. I think the biggest issue for them is that because Kronos got a lot of farm in the solo lane, when it became time for mid lane transitions, they came around and Kronos was just hitting as hard as Apollo. You saw that on the left side. When they got caught out, Apollo and Game Hunter, Apollo and Kronos teamed up, and with the amount of basic attack damage they were generating between the two of them, no one was able to stand still in open field against that amount of barrage that came between the two. And so they want to kind of eliminate that big mage basic attack rotation. C9 is going to ban out Tyr. They're going to ban out across the way Odin and Bastet are banned away, but this is exactly what we talked about prior to the picking stage, Hindu, is just getting Poseidon on C9.
Yep, and you are correct completely in that situation. We're going to have to see Sayo pick up that. And the question is now, what are we going to see Lobster play in that mid lane? Scylla? But Scylla doesn't have a great matchup against Poseidon, does he? Does she, rather?
Given the time frame, it's got to be Isis or it could be Agni. I mean, Agni not banned out yet. I think that Lobster's a little bit okay with this. This Ra is most likely to be going to Game Hunter. Sinnoh Kong is going to be going over to Trix Tank there on the right side of your screen. So I don't think the mid lane is picked up yet. I would imagine it would be Isis or Agni for Lobster. He's been playing those two characters for a very long time now. Isis more recently, but definitely plays to a very high level. Suntouch and NQ picking out for C9 to see what they want to go with. And then, of course, one more pick after that. We'll go directly into the ban phase. No Hunters have been picked up yet, but is Ur available?
It has got through the ban so far. It seems he's not been picked up yet, and he's being hovered over right now. Will he be locked in? He has been by from Cloud9 now, and then also Thor in the jungle.
Thor, a great pickup for them. We know that, of course, the control that they're going to have with him is going to be huge. Suntouch does play a decent amount of Thor. I'm surprised to see them move away from the Hoon bots. It seemed to be something that was working for them, and it's hard to kind of draw conclusions from the last game, but I guess they're going to run away from it this time around. What will they end up going for? Will they pick a Hunter, a mid laner? Hubbard on Isis locked in. That's exactly right. It looks like it's going to be solo Game Hunter Raw and mid lane Isis on Lobster.
You called that on Lobster again. Ice is probably being picked up and has been in this situation. So we're into the banning part once again. What are the last two going to be? Now, one thing to note is that TSM have already picked their support, and there we go, Guan Yu being banned out. So what are we going to see Half Devil playing this game? Is it going to be Bacchus like last game? It's going to be interesting to see.
So they're going to pick Thor and ban Hoon bots here for C9, surprisingly enough. If there it is, that's going to be taken out completely. Guan Yu ban is a little surprising to me, wondering what they're going to go down the road with that. Across the way, actually with Odin gone, Sun Wukong picked up. That basically leaves Geb for them, unless they want to go a different road, something like Bacchus or Amir or even Athena, honestly, in the current meta would work pretty well. But, I think what they're thinking is that Half Devil has a god pool of 3 to 4 characters. Number one, he plays about 60 to 70% of the time in his games. He plays Sun Wukong. His backup is Odin, and he's been playing Odin a lot. He played Odin all weekend last week. So Odin's gone, Sun Wukong's gone, and now basically Guan Yu ban is directed directly at Half Devil because Half Devil likes playing Guan Yu if he can't get Sun Wukong or Odin. They want to limit that support role as much as possible and then lean on Trix Tank.
And now we can see that Chalk has been picked up for Team Solomid, so it's probably going to be a Chalk jungle in this situation, initiated by that tier ban, I feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Kibo loves his Chalk jungle. It's going to give a lot of control, a lot of damage output, also a lot of tankiness and mobility, especially with Raw throwing the Solar Blessing to make a big difference there. Across the way, there's the Bacchus, of course, the big backup for most important players is going to be that Bacchus play. And then Vamana locked in here. This is going to be going over to NQ. I'm surprised to see Vamana picked up at all. Now, you look across the way, Isis and Ra aren't that great at dealing with Vamana. Vamana really has trouble with high mobility characters, and the fact that Sprint exists means that it's very hard for Vamana to stick to people. However, if you can find low mobility mages that have to make the choice between Purification Beads, Sprint, Aegis Amulet, it's not that bad of a pick. Now, you can see Ra and Isis together here for TSM. They need Purification Beads for all the stuns and slows from Bacchus, Thor, Ur, even the slow from Mana, the slow from Poseidon. But they also need each amulet for the Poseidon Ultimate, for Thor Dunks, Bacchus Ult. So now they're basically forced to consider, do I want Sprint for Romana? Do I want each amulet for Poseidon, or do I want Purification Beads for everything? And that kind of forced choice is a great thing to have. Last pick's going to be Apollo for Smack, nothing surprising.
Yeah, nothing surprising there from Smack coming out at the end of that. So we're going to go into the delay now. And these are the teams for the second game. Guys, send your tweets in to us. They'll appear on the bottom of the screen. Hashtag SWC. Who do you reckon is going to win this game? Is it going to be Cloud9 or TSM? Will Cloud9 be able to make it a best of 3? Or will TSM go on and win this week's EU tournament?
Well, we're going to find out very soon here. So stick around. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 of the Grand Finals. You're watching C9 versus TSM. TSM takes the first match against C9. They're taking a little blow to their morale and also to their personal respect here. They were hoping to kind of close this out as they did last week, but TSM has proven that it's not going to be the case today. Game 1 goes to TSM. Now moving to Game 2, C9 has something to prove here. Looks like they're going to try and prove it with a very big invade on the right side of the map. They're moving right up the corner here. Cubo Fred does not have a ward. He's going to spot it out. They need to do this very quickly, and they do it very effectively.
Oh, but Cubo Fred does spot it out early, so they're not going to get anything out of that for the time being. All they're going to get for the moment is map positioning. They probably drop an early ward down, but they have to rotate back, otherwise the other side of the jungle will probably be taken away by TSM. So, nice attempt from them, but just spotted out nicely from Cubo Fred there.
Yeah, honestly, you're expecting that in the early stage of the game. You're really wondering, are they going to be able to rotate? Is it going to work? Will they be able to get the kill first or not? And, honestly, I think in the history of Smite, we haven't really had very many good level 1 engagements or really a level 1 engagement strategy. It's more centric around objectives like stealing camps or stealing, harpies or stealing something rather than the first blood opportunity, which we've seen before, but doesn't seem like it's too easy to get that. Honestly, with the third-person view and how you position yourself in the beginning, you can spot it out if you're paying attention.
And as we've seen today, like the first bloods aren't that big a deal, to be honest, in the very early stages of the game, because if the minions haven't spawned yet, then they'll be able to get back in lane for the XP at the start of the game and not really fall too far behind.
Falling behind is a very, very poor thing for any team lineup, especially if you have like a late game carry lineup overall. So now we're going to see Sayo on Poseidon versus Lobster on Isis here. A little bit strange to see the difference here. You know, Sayo used to love Isis. Now, honestly, that could pay to his favor. The fact that Sayo is one of the biggest Isis proponents we've ever seen in the competitive scene overall, besides Mansion the Face, of course, from North America, he's been able to understand Isis and what she's capable of throughout the game.
Yeah, and we know from experience of seeing this matchup in the mid lane already today that Isis seems to have a better time against Poseidon. But it is generally a skill matchup between the two, is it not, Dryo?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Poseidon has very good push, Isis has very good push, and honestly, after level 3 or so, they're both going to be able to clear the way pretty easily.
It's going to come down to who can Isis land that Spirit Ball in the right situation, and obviously can the Whirlpool come out in the right opportunity as well to force that. At the moment, we can see from Cloud9's point of view, they're being pressured into the tower in the solo lane at the moment, and you can already see the Q4Threads are rotating. He's looking to steal away jungle possibly, but he's just going to wait around and see if he can get some extra pressure on someone rotating out of there. That's what's happening right now.
Here, waiting for him to come around. He knows he's going to try and jump to the jungle. Now going to find NQ here on Vamana, the greatest target ever, but they're going to clear out this wave. Looks like on the backside, Sunja just says, hey, I don't want to lose this Harpy Camp and go back and do it. He just leaves this whole lane open, but this may be very hard for Vamana to clear this wave out.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult from under the tower to clear that one out, but because of that, he's forced Suntouch into the jungle a little bit earlier, so he's going to have a small lead overall, because obviously you did see Chuck share that XP camp in terms of rotation, as Suntouch is the first to approach his speed buff. He's just going to make sure he's still standing, because Trix Tank, as we all know, likes to roam around a lot on that support Sun Wukong.
He just doesn't really stay focused in one spot. He likes to wander, likes to explore the jungle. Belly flop coming out from half double, not going to land though. Trix Tank just casually walking by it. Movement speed buff now being picked up here by Sunja. Just cleared this out completely in mid lane. We got Poseidon moving up towards Lobster. Not going to be able to find that one as that does get cleared out. Spirit Ball, is he looking for it? Does he know it's there? They don't. Oh, they have vision on top of it, so that'll do it for now. Mid is now meeting up and looks like Isis is hurrying back.
Yeah, she's going to retreat carefully here, using the Spirit Ball, keeping Sayo back for the time being, as well as put a little bit poke down on the minions. Wingust comes out, so once again, Lobster doing a good job of pushing in that lane as much as possible and keeping Poseidon pinned back and not allowing him to rotate or have the mobility to just move around the map and look for opportunities.
Hunter playing a safe game on the right side of the map, making sure that NQ can't push him too far. In fact, he's completely ignoring NQ and just going for the wave. And honestly, that's what you do in a Vamana Raw matchup. He knows with Divine Blessing, he'll have no worries about NQ getting too close. That slow is just so good for melee.
Oh, the Spirit Ball lands
in mid lane. There's the Wingust taking a lot of damage here. Now, of course, a great block coming out from Suntouch, preventing Q4Thread from jumping in on the fight.
Yeah, it was really, really nicely done overall from both the junglers trying to get involved in that fight. But big Spirit Ball landing and the disengage having to happen for the time being. Suntouch is going to help out Sayo in that mid lane. As you can see, the duo lane actually rotating over for this Harpy camp here, as is Bacchus. So that's going to go over to TSM. Nicely done from them to secure that one. And Isis should be able to take away, with the help of Q4Thread, the right one. So a small advantage to TSM there.
Beautiful play there, honestly. Great grab up on the left side mid camp. That's going to be free and clear for them. And so that is something they have to worry about. In 3 minutes or so, the respawn timer for mid camp's going to be 3 minutes flat. So it gives them plenty of time to kind of reposition themselves, get ready to take mid lane, push it all the way up to the tower, and of course, reposition themselves for later engagements. Damage buff is down. Looks like Sunda's looking for an ult. He's going to go up in the air here. Thor's going to fly up looking for Lobster mid lane. He's going to fall down. Looks like he's going to get the stun. There goes the wall. There goes the Kraken. And Lobster goes down completely. Sayo taking out the kill in the mid lane. First blood, C9.
Yeah, C9 did a great job there as well. Trix Tank was looking for an opportunity onto Sayo at the same time, so bit of craziness between the two, but Cloud9 the one to come out on top. But for the time being, we can see that both the supports are going to rotate to mid lane as well. Vamana Game Hunter actually having to, rotating over, rather, and Vamana sticking in that lane and pushing it out for the time being. He'll have to go back there, otherwise he'll lose a couple of minions.
Looks like TSM did not want after that one. They are completely out of luck on that. First blood does go to C9, and honestly goes to Sayo, which is a really big pickup. It's going to slow down the farm game by Lobster. In fact, he's already 300 gold ahead individually. Sendokon coming in the mid lane, looking for the stun here on Sayo. You're going to get it. There's the knockup. Q4 a little bit far behind there. There goes the hit. Honestly, they didn't commit at all to that one. Definitely going to pick that up with Q4Thread. One torrent is all he really needed, but they were just kind of going through that in glancing.
Yeah, do you know, if Trix Tank realised how low he was going to get due to the axe, I don't think it was communicated very well, but when he went onto the cloud, if he would have dived in, he would have been able to land on top of him and pick up that kill for TSM there. But in the end, you know, they didn't have the communication or realise the amount of burst damage they were going to get onto him, and so they disengaged.
Left side, we're going to see Youngbei up against Smek. Smek getting a little bit of a lead here. Looking at the gold individual, Youngbei is going to be sitting at 32.50. Smek is going to be sitting at 32.50 himself. So the gold is completely even, but the experience is in favor of Smek right now. Now, Ur is actually quite good at boxing here. So Apollo versus Ur, it's an interesting matchup. Apollo can win that one, but Ur has the potential to do more than Apollo, but has to hit every single shot to do it, which, of course, you know, Youngbei is capable of doing. So we'll see how that works out as the supports start to rotate back over and defend this lane as it stands right now. But looking at the gold graphs, it's going to be a slight gold lead here for C9, but the experience is in favor of TSM.
Yeah, at the moment it's all TSM in terms of XP. The gold is so even right now that one minion can tilt the balance to either side. Mid Harpies are due up in probably about the next minute, looking at it for the time being. So we'll see who gets them, because TSM did get those last time, and that's where some of that XP difference comes from.
Yeah, the experience is really huge there. If you miss a single minion camp, there's a minion wave. Right side initiation coming out here. Looking for Game Hunter. He's got the heals, the slow, running out the sprint, going around the corner here. Suntouch is going to give chase. Not looking for it. Chalk's here, though. They could bait this out if they go try for the kill. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful play and decision-making here by C9, recognizing the fact that, hey, he's got support. Let's not go for it. Yeah,
don't continue the chase after it. We burnt the sprint in that situation. We have to give up. Meanwhile, we do see that Cloud9 did secure those left-hand Harpies, so they've got some of the XP. Right side is being contested, but Cuba Fred's going to take them away with the hog before Suntouch can even get involved.
Forcing it away. Will he be able to grab it up? Senukong waiting in the jungle here as Bacchus rotates over. The Gold Fury is there. Ur is on the backside, waiting to kind of clear this wave out. Of course, Smek is already going home. What does he have? Finished Heartseeker now. We're looking for Purification Beats. One boots. One does complete that out. Across the way, Youngbei is going to be sitting on just Heartseeker. Has yet to go home, but he's sitting on currently 1,000 gold in hand. That's trumped by NQ's 1,200 in hand. So NQ, he's looking to go home, but Game Hunter's not letting him.
Well, we saw some aggression in that lane just a moment while you were talking there. That Anki actually had to use Big Baby to actually get out of a bad situation. Game Hunter low on mana. He needs to go back as well. So I expect them both to go and disappear very soon. We can already see Game Hunter has left. NQ will be soon to follow. Or will he try and stay for one more wave? It looks like he might, and that could cost him a little bit of farm, because Game Hunter will be back in lane already, especially if he's sat on a lot of gold.
Needs to be pushed up here. There's a Spirit Ball from Isis to clear out the back shots there, chalking him in to kind of help the mid lane a little bit. Box on the left side left alone to his own devices as Smek and Trickstank push very heavily. Good stun there trying to prevent them from going home. Of course, they don't realize how much damage they're capable of doing. Half Devil is not all that tanky just yet, and they're going for Watcher's Gift into Magic Shoe. So if they want to initiate him, they could have killed him off, but they don't really know where the jungler is. Of course, they don't know if Thor, played by Suntouch, has already gone home. Tier 2 Purification Beats picked up by Thor, as well as Sayo on Poseidon here. Make sure they're very safe by the initiation of TSM.
Yeah, making sure they're available for it. A lot of talk from the pro players this week as well, in terms of the fact that beads obviously take into account when you get max 3 beads, it does reduce the cooldown of your abilities by 5 seconds. But on the left-hand side, we can see Smek get himself caught out of position there, and Half Devil securing the kill with the Intoxicate there. So free pickup, 2-0 now in favour of Cloud9, and it looks like the rotation over from Trickstank as Suntouch comes in. There's a lot of damage going out as well. Cuba Fred's in a lot of trouble. His Trickstank gets out of there. The Kraken comes out as well. But the Belly Flop's going to secure it. Half Devil is the carry in this lane. And Youngbei says, no, Half Devil, I need the kills. He's going to pick one up for himself. This is big for Cloud9 here.
Enki from behind. Lobster uses the wing guts to disengage entirely. Of course, rotation coming out from the Raw as well. You see Game Hunter on the way over. Is it going to be enough? Gold Fury started up here. There's the big baby form. Syrian Pang to do damage here. Apollo's up in the air. Look for the dunk down. Could pick off Suntouch, but they put him in a terrible position if he wants to go all the way into the bank here. Looking for it. Not going to find it. Still running around. Dunking. Going to kill Suntouch. Looking for Half Devil as well. There's the burst. So beautiful. The belly flop comes out here, and Smek has no mana left to chase that one down. Mid tower is a safe place for Sayo as well as NQ to head on home. The Gold Fury was taken out in the favor of C9, 2,200 gold in the lead.
Yeah, 2,200 gold in the lead, and for one casualty of war, that's worthwhile in my book as well. It's given him a nice advantage across the board, and at the same time, it's starting to show now that Cloud9 are really fighting for this now. This is a game to be reckoned with, because if they continue to push, then we'll go to a game 3, because at the moment, Cloud9 are the ones that are catching TSM out of position ever so slightly every time.
Well, that's the big thing about it. I mean, they have to be really careful about how they position themselves with, the squishy characters. I mean, you can't have that kind of initiation. Now, of course, you have very tanky characters like Hugo Fred, who was one of the few that got caught out in the beginning of that fight for TSM. But at the same time, Chalk, who does pick up Warrior Tabi and Death's Toll, he has no defense items. He's not as tanky as you would think, even though he is a warrior with natural stat gains that make him more durable naturally than assassins, hunters, or mages. He still is not invincible, and that's what we're experiencing right now. Left side, Smek, Trickstank, Belly Flop. flop onto Smack and interrupts it completely. Purification pieces pop though. It didn't actually go on cooldown, so Smack will dash away and be A-okay for the time being. Trickstang popping his ultimate in response. Not enough damage to go through there. The bladed arrow did not hit home. But Chalk's here. Isis is here. Rotation coming out strong. Apollo doesn't have the mana to follow up on this one. Rain Dance is slowing down Half Devil, but they're going to disengage.
Yeah, just to disengage. They can't continue to chase under the tower too much because obviously you've got the pressure of Half Devil's able to belly flop away in bad situations, but in the mid lane, and Lobster's been caught on the rotation back by Sayo, and Suntouch, the aggression is on him. He's trying to get back in tower range, but the Kraken comes out. He's going to go down. Keeper Fred's late to the party. He's going to try and secure kills to Suntouch. He gets to the sky in time, just in the nick of time, and that is huge, really, just to escape that in that moment. No!
Oh, over the wall! Beautiful play. Oh, no, sorry, that was a tower. That was the tower shot. The tower shot stacked taking him out there. Beautiful play. That's just too unfortunate. Of course, those you don't know, you're untargetable, but of course not invulnerable. And the tower shots that are queued up at your feet, when he lands, the tower shots follow him there, and he gets taken out completely. Unfortunately enough for Suntouch, it was a good escape, but it was in tower range, so he will be taken out after the fact by Qualifiers Fred. Beautiful pickup there. And now we see Sai actually defending the right lane in NQ's stead.
Yeah, and NQ said he has to in this situation just to make sure that the Game Hunter can't continue to push. Luckily for him, though, Game Hunter doesn't have much mana left. Otherwise, Sayo could be in a bit of a bad position there due to him being on half health for the time being. But we need to nerf these mid towers, I think, Dry Bear. I mean, that range, that mid tower range was ridiculous.
Oh, I know, absolutely OP. OP, too strong. But at the same time, and honestly, it's the same thing with Freya. You know, when you pop your niche damage, you're still going to be able to pick up charges from Zeus on top of that. So there are things that are irregardless to your state of targetability, and so the tower is going to be included in that. So Thor, of course, escaping out. Now look at the charts here. We're going to see about 1900 gold in favor of C9. The experience is dead even. Actually, that's pretty in favor of TSM. Honestly, the gold can be made up. Experience is hard to make up at this point in the game, especially when every level makes a big difference. If you get level 2 of your ultimate, whereas everyone else has level 1, it makes a really big difference, especially for characters like Poseidon. Now mid lane initiation coming out here, looking for Sao. Rain Dance, in trouble. Sprint, Spirit Ball, doesn't have the distance there. The Kraken them to knock him in the air, but he needs to get some distance here. A few shots is all they really need to take it out. Suntouch takes out Qualifiers right now. Thor going up in the air. The dunk from Specs to pick off Sayo, but now he's going to disengage entirely. Now Vamana looking for the kill. Lobster goes down to the big baby. Sun Wukong from above. Trickstang trying to disengage entirely as Thor looked for the Ra. The Ra has the heal. He has the distance. He has Searing Pain. The pain is too much for them to deal with. Down to half HP is blocking. Suntouch forced to disengage entirely as Smek comes through here. The So Beautiful does not have the distance he wanted it to have. The Goldbeard is not alive, but neither is Sayo, Qualifiers Fred, or Lobster.
Yeah, no one's really going to come out on top of that unless TSM do take both these mid-Harpy camps, and that's the big thing about high-level plays, taking the advantages wherever you can get them, securing both those XP camps, even though they actually lost more players in that fight. So TSM doing a great job as it stands.
Oh, absolutely. Good recovery, good initiation, and honestly, Smek is kind of the ace in the hole for them. Every time someone gets away, it's just Apollo from above, goes for the kill, gets it, and disengages entirely. He's being very, very safe and being very, very careful, and that's exactly what they need from a hunter. Greedy when you need to be, but not so greedy that you can't recover from it, and that's what Smek just kind of, he walks that line very effectively. Sitting at 6,400 and 70 gold right now across the way. You're going to see Youngbei at 67, so about 300 gold behind the Youngbei, just because of the gold difference and, of course, the Gold Fury separation. But you know that can be made up. The experience is relatively even, and it seems like both teams are prepared to win this match.
Yeah, they both really want to win this one. Obviously, Cloud9 really need to make sure they tie up to 1-1. TSM want to win this week's tournament, so both big things on the line for both of them in this one. And one thing I want to point out as well is the fact that this game seems relatively slow. Now, the reason it's slow, in my opinion, is because everyone is such a high-level player that it's very unlikely that they get caught out of position. But when someone does, a small little advantage is made, and then you see these crazy burst team fights that we keep seeing.
So we're waiting for the damage buff right now. It's about to respawn a little bit early, though. Can pick it up. The Gold Fury is up as well. The Fire Giant is spawning. Looks like Halfdale's going to start it up with Youngbei and Sayo. Trickstang spots it out. Is it Hand of the Gods 3? He does indeed, but so does Half Devil. Walking the line here, needs to get in, using the ultimate to make sure he's CC, and he has the decoy on the ground as well. Jumping in, looking for a Kraken comes out. TSM has the Gold Fury. They take it away. Trickstang flies away with the bird form. Sometimes trying to follow up. The Spirit Ball will keep NQ in place. Smek gets the kill on that one. Searing Pain not going to hit home. Sayo trying to get away as far as he possibly can. Spirit Ball comes out after the Purification Bead's used again. There's Celestial Beam, some more damage. Sile goes down, now looking for Sun Touch under Tier 1 tower. He's got nowhere to go. Youngbei wants the kill on Cubo, but he's just so dang durable. There's the kill. Sun Touch takes out Lobster. There goes the kill as well. On top of Chalk, Hugo Fred going down as well, looking for Youngbei. The knockout, the damage is going to be too much. Smack,
This is so close.
Gets Half Devil, now looking for Youngbei. Can he take it out? Sun Touch gets cooked down. There's the base attack that's so beautiful, doing huge amounts of damage here. Smick and Trix Tank back off entirely, but Youngbei, he has no health. He's got nowhere to go. He's surrounded in a sea of red. Will they commit to this one under tower, or will they not? So beautiful. Takes him out. He eats an axe in the face just to get the kill.
Game Hunter used the saving play to one side so that if he dodged, Smek would hit him with the other one. They're going to get the tower out of that one. TSM played that really well. I want to do a quick shout out to Sun Touch in that. During the middle lane, he zoned out Chuck and Poseidon for a few seconds by using the wall to stop them them from getting through to the Gold Fury area. Not to be though, because once again Trix Tank gets himself in there, steals it away. Great play from TSM. Coming out on top of that. And now that's going to show on the XP and gold at the moment, both in favor of TSM. Experience 3,000, gold 1,000 right now.
And QJ this opportunity of a lull to try and do some damage to the right side tower, get something back for his team. Looking at the charts, it's in favor of TSM, 3,300 experience, and of course almost 1,000 gold, like you mentioned, Hindu. And it's a big difference here. Honestly, the fact that they got the experience is huge. The tower going down means they got a little bit of a gold lead as well, but C9 is not out for the count just yet. They had the damage they need. Sayo actually rushed a Rod of Tahuti here to make sure that he has enough damage to take down his enemies, and that certainly will accomplish the job.
Yeah, normally what you see from a Poseidon is they go for a more team-orientated fight item to kind of slow the enemies down and get the damage out of it as well. But in this situation, he's gone for the raw damage just so that Kraken hits even harder earlier on in this game, and it really needs to pay dividends soon. And the pause comes out for Cuva Fred there. So we'll see what's going to go on from this as everyone's kind of grouped around the Fire Giant right now. But I don't think it's very, very early to have a Fire Giant fight, I'm sure, Dry.
Yeah, the Fire Giant is kind of a point of contention for both teams right now, and honestly the fact that TSM is in the area forces C9's hand to get them over in that area to defend it themselves. We see kind of Smek kind of waiting for the opportunity to jump in if he possibly can. His ultimate is available. Game Hunter is the one to disconnect right now, so wait for him to get back into the game, and he's a crucial part of their play. Now, he doesn't have a whole lot of damage right now, going for a full CDR build with Breastplate of Valor, Shoes of Focus now going to Penetration, but he is going to provide a lot of healing potential with Solar Blessing. Of course, a great slow to melee characters like Thor and Vamana, keeping them out of the fight and out of their full effectiveness of damage output, and that's what they really need them for. They have the damage from Smack, they have the team fight potential plus damage for Kibo Fred, and Lobster brings up the rear with that big circle protection to make sure everything goes their way.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands on paper right now, this game could go either way. Once again, it's just like the first game. I mean, in the first game overall, those small team fights went in favor of TSM. They took the objectives down wherever possible, pushed on and won the game after a great Gold Fury fight that we saw. And in this game, it could go either way once again, so we may see the same for Cloud9. But from what I can tell is that TSM, this is a sort of a repeat of the I5 game to an extent. They fell behind early, but then rallied back and got themselves back in the game. And they seem to be doing this once again against Cloud9.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And Cloud9 seems to be, a little bit unwilling to kind of react to what's going on with that, and it's really hard to kind of react to that.
So yeah, we'll see as this game goes on what's going to happen. We're just still waiting for Game Hunter to get back into this one. It's 1-0 lead to TSM, as you can see on your screens right now. While we're in the pause, guys, hashtag SWC, shout out, tweet to us, and it'll appear on the bottom of the screen. Let us know who you think's going to win and who you think MVP of the tournament has been so far as well, because there's been a lot of really good players that are showing some worth to their teams to an extent, mainly, from all over the show as well, even I5, Exposed Secrets, all those teams trying to get in contention as well. So even if it's not one of these two, one of the players in this game now, there is other ones in the tournament as well that may have shown you something that you're like, wow, really surprised by.
Yeah, keep in mind that the rest of the week we're going to have a lot of content for you to watch as well. MVP highlights. We're going to have face-off with myself and hi-rez Bart, really going over what happened last weekend tournament, what to look forward to in the future. We also have, the highlights for both EU and NA coming through the week, and the fails as well. So if you see something that was just absolutely atrocious and made you giggle like a schoolgirl, that will also be up in video form for you to watch for the rest of the week. So if you haven't already, head over to youtube.com/Smite Pro and hit that subscribe button, because that's where all the content is going to end up, and you definitely don't want to miss a single piece of it. top 5 plays also coming through together on both Smite Pro and Smite Game YouTube channels, respectively. But at this point, 98, C9 is a little bit behind here. They have a 1 kill advantage, but they're certainly behind by 1,000 gold and 3,000 experience. Nothing really to write home about, but certainly not anything to laugh at, as TSM has shown how quickly they can end a game if they get ahead.
Exactly, and one thing to point out as well is that when we saw Dignitas play Cognitive yesterday, Dignitas shown that kills on everything, They were behind in kills quite dramatically, but they kept taking objectives whenever they managed to pick up the kills, and it shows that objectives are way more important than picking up kills at the end of the day. You can still win the game and be behind in terms of kills. It's not an issue.
Big plays, a possibility here in this game. And honestly, keep in mind that if C9 is able to win this game, they go to game 3 and they have the opportunity to win it out. But if they lose this is the end of the road for them. They have to win this game or they will have no chance at all to kind of catch up to CSM in the next week. If TSM will actually tie it up. Now, C9, if they win this and go into the next game and win it, I should correct myself there. If C9 is able to win this in game 3, then TSM will not be able to win or catch up to them in the seeding charts until 2 weeks from now. Of course, that will put them at 200 total and then 120 for TSM. But if TSM wins this week, they'll be all tied up.
So a lot on the line in this game. Take into account, guys, you can still sign up if you wish to for the tournaments for the following weeks as well. So if you've got a team, you fancy getting yourself involved, think you're a bit of a game hunter in the solo lane, get your friends involved, come and join in. You've still got opportunities, still join the earlier stages of the event. So represent EU, there's a chance for you to go onto the LAN.
Right lane, speaking of Game Hunter, he's on that raw, pushing up against NQ. NQ kind of forced back the back foot here, making sure the tower doesn't go down, but at the same time takes a lot of harassment for Game Hunter. Look at this damage potential. NQ forced a dash away there. Is he going to look for the ultimate? He is full CDR build, so Game Hunter doesn't really have to worry about, kind of conserving those ultimates. They're just, free and clear.
Pressure in mid lane once again from TSM as well, seeing that they did force their mana back in that situation. And now you can see Chuck and Trixtank rotating over to put the pressure on and try and take this tower down. Once again, TSM are using the fact of objectives wherever possible to take as much gold away as possible and get an advantage.
Advantage was exactly what they need right now. TSM is going to get another tower on the right side of the map. That's going to put them up to 1,400 gold now. Of course, those tier 1 towers are only worth 500 gold now, previously 1,000, so that's a big separation for them. Thunderkong kind of waiting in the wings, looking for an opportunity to jump on Sao, but Sao is privy to his desires as the other ward down. And a lot of ward coverage from both teams here. And honestly, a lot of ward coverage today overall, but all the teams we've watched today have had a very high engagement with their vision coverage, with the initiation on the right side. Looking for Trixtank, though. There's the slow. The hammer comes through, sprint out of the activation, and that's about all they can do.
Yep, immediately sprint away and he should be okay. He's going to have the cloud available anyway, so even if they did continue the chase, they would only force the cloud in that situation. So best decision to back off. The new Game Hunter would have probably been floating around, which he was. So back out for the time being, regroup, look for the next opportunity. You can see Half Devil trying to cause issues for Smek on that blue mana camp at the moment. That's where the aggression is for the time being. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, you can see Game Hunter being aggressive again, but doing fine with the Solar Blessing just to keep sustained up. Under that, even Sire rotating over there round now as Lobster is here too. Is there going to be some more aggression here, Dry?
Spirit Ball coming out, not going to land. The silence did land though. Searing Pain not going to land either, and Lobster trying to get it close, but just cannot do it. The wall came out from Sun Touch. That's all they needed to disengage. The blue buff was actually leashed previously by Smek. Of course, you saw Half Devil go up there, show his presence, forcing him to disengage entirely. So that blue buff had to be redone by Smek and Trixtank. Now looking for Bacchus in the mid area. The Gold Fairy will be respawning shortly. Honestly, TSM is looking to grab this up to put their lead up. But if C9 wants to stop this game from skyrocketing out of control, they have to get this next Gold Fury. 2 Hand of the Gods 3s exist right now. 1 on Trixtank, 1 on Half Devil. Suntouch has tier 1 Hand of the Gods as well as Kibo Fred, but that's about it for the securing potential for the Gold Fury. It's going to come down to how Trixtank and Half Devil play and how their teams try to structure themselves so the supports don't get close enough.
Both mid-harpies going over to TSM on that exchange as well, so the experience lead extends to 4.5k, and they're doing a good job, like we keep saying over and over again, of controlling objectives and making sure they get these XP advantages. They will make a difference in the fights as time go on, especially as the race to level 20 is on and the race to finish the items and get the damage out. Trixtank's looking to rotate onto Sayo in mid lane, but he did get spotted out by the Warden already. You can see NQ there to back him up just in case Trixtank did go too aggressive.
Bach is looking for the burp, not going to find that trick tank going into bird farm completely. Apollo is now looking to push the right side of the map. Now, of course, he does have his ultimate available, and it's what Apollo does best. The Gold Fury is over there. They're trying to pull people away from it. Does he look? Is he going to rotate over completely, or is he going to try and push this up? The Gold Fury might be starting up shortly. Smek trying to force their hand here and keep them out of the fight as long as possible. Poseidon has already begun to rotate over. This is a big win for TSM. They can now look for the Gold Fury contest.
Yeah, it's really big. I mean, getting Poseidon to go over that side, he's got to go over for the red buff anyway, and he's scared of that, and he's trying to... Luckily, we did see that Smek put down an early ward, so he's rotated all the way over, forcing it. I'm surprised we didn't see TSM try and rush that Gold Fury straight away as soon as Sayo showed himself in that situation.
It's a 4v4 and everyone's present and accounted for on the left side of the map, so that's something they really have to be careful about what they're doing. They don't have the vision.
Suntouch taking a lot of damage.
Suntouch forced out here. No raw ultimate used there, just letting him disengage entirely. Want to use it for full damage on the right person. Of course, if he misses that, sets down for just just above 30 seconds, about 36 seconds, I believe, before he hits level 20 and gets the full rank of his ultimate. And max rank with full CR, Ra's ultimate is 30 seconds even, so he's a little bit above that mark right now, but definitely want to hold on to it for the right person at the right time. Spirit Ball going to hit half double in the face. There it is. A Celestial Beam as well as a Thunder Strike to keep his HP down, but here comes the Gold
Fury. Is going up. He's going to look for the opportunity. Intoxicate comes out as well. The aggression is on. Big Baby's out from NQ as well. Where are we going to see Apollo come down, landing down on? He's going aggressive onto Sayo. Sayo's going to get picked off thanks to the snipe and the damage from Smek. Meanwhile, the fight still continuing. Cupid Fred got kind of low, but he's going to get regen from the Blessing coming out as well. Lobster's in a lot of trouble over there against NQ. Smek takes out Youngbei in this situation. Half Devil's very low. He's trying to juke out as best as he can against Smek. Keep juking. He's still going to go down in that situation. Lobster's still alive in this fight as well. The healing beam doing so much work. Suntouch goes back in, trying to pick up Lobster. Trix Tanks takes him out, and that's a deicide again for TSM. They are so good in these skirmishes right now.
Heals are exactly what they were leaning on, and honestly, C9 is committing to the wrong targets for the wrong reasons at the wrong time and with the wrong people. NQ committed all the way to Lobster trying to get that kill. The support from TSM was it. I love this play right now. They were going for the Gold Fury. They skip it entirely. They realize they just got a deicide. They're going to get Fire Giant instead. It's a beautiful veteran play. Honestly, most teams would just go straight for the Gold Fury that's right in front of you, but honestly, not even wasting time with the petty little weak Gold Fury. Why not skip around and go straight to the Fire Giant and pick up that buff?
Yeah, that's really big overall in terms of that. I mean, they're going to get this Fire Giant for free now. You can see that Vermana's not even respawned yet as this one's going to drop. Vermana does come up. NQ is now alive again, but that pick was huge for them. That big deicide fight, ignoring the Gold Fury. They can take that now. They've got the Fire Giant dry.
Oh, absolutely, and now Smek, of course, is going to be falling out for just a moment here. The Fire Giant buff did go to all 5 members for TSM. That's a big win for them. Looking at the charts, 5,100 gold and 10.6 thousand experience in the charts for TSM. C9 is now feeling the heat and the pressure. They're starting to sweat down their back as they realize they may be losing the series here in Week 2 of the Smite World Championship qualifiers to TSM, tying up the seeding points 1-1. They will both have 160 seeding points total, and that will answer the question is, will Smek be more valuable on TSM, or will Youngbei be more valuable on C9 as it stands right now? It seemed like C9 was unbeatable last week, but TSM is proven to be just the opposite.
I mean, to point out as well, I think Youngbei and Smek are both transitioning into their new teams really well. Like, the way they position in the team fights and actually communicate together, you can see they've already on the same wavelength as their teammates, and you can see it took a little bit longer to an extent for TSM, for Smek to actually get involved in it, but I'm saying some of that might be down to the fact that they did play with a support during the first week, Zhao, that did get played, and I believe it was Cuba Fred wasn't available for that one, so that's the reason we didn't see the full TSM roster, and they used the sub Zhao to their advantage. But then coming into this one again, we see more of what the TSM we saw at the finals.
Oh, absolutely. TSM has shown how strong they are time and time again. They're trying to show it again today. And honestly, it seems to be going very well. I mean, you can't really contest that fact. Now, you're looking at the facts, speaking of what we have available to us, I mean, looking at the charts, they have 5K gold, 10,000 experience. They have the Fire Giant buff as well, which is really the biggest part about this, considering the fact that they already have a lot of sustain with Ra, Isis, of course, a lot of control and mobility with Sun Wukong, Chalk, and Apollo. Now they have sustain with the Fire Giant buff, and then damage on top of that for everyone on the team, especially for characters that have gone more of a utilitarian-based build like Lobster and Game Hunter. Game Hunter going full CDR and then penetration with that physical defense, and mana on Breastplate of Valor. Give him the Fire Giant buff, and all of a sudden he's very tanky, but also has this natural magical damage gain from that Fire Giant buff, making everything better for him as we get going again.
Well, now that TSM have picked up that Fire Giant, they will be returning to base to pick up those well-deserved items, fill up on mana and HP, and then it'll be interesting to see whether they go straight for the Gold Fury as a whole team, or they look for a split push strategy using Smek on that Apollo to their advantage now that they've all got Fire Giant.
Fire Giant is under their belt. Quite realistically, it actually is their belt right now, as they're going to the farm in the jungle. The buff going to go to Youngbei here, actually a little bit limited. It's going to give a little bit more mana to use, but at the same time limiting him the damage output arena. He could have waited for that movement speed buff, but now won't have that available. Left lane now pushed up entirely. Now look at the gold from towers here, about 1,500 total from the first 3 tier 1 towers there for TSM. Now, no towers have been gained just yet for C9, which would help clear the gap just a bit, but they have to be careful at what they give away. And speaking of giving something away, the Gold Fury is TSM's yet again.
Yeah, it's hard to contest that in that situation. The one thing is as well, Vermont is being spotted on the right-hand side here, so it's going to be a 4v5, and so they should be able to take out this left-hand tier tower again and set up a very similar situation to what we saw in Game 1. It's going to drop very quick.
That's the whole thing. Once you get that advantage, you push as much as you can. NQ is now pushing the right side tower, but
he's still going.
Famana is not really the greatest split pusher. They need him here. Thor waiting for his opportunity to jump in here, but jumping in is TSM already looking for half double. Caught out. Damage output coming through. There's a creepy Chris. Belly flops into the ground here as Thor dunks down looking for Lobster. Going to find Lobster. The ultimate comes out. Burst is going to finish off half double, but there goes Lobster, the Kraken initiation. Sun Touch doesn't get out. He's not going to have enough time. There goes the hit from Cubo Fred, and he's going down. Sun Wukong up in the air. The Fire Giant buff is giving them a wondrous lead in this fight. The decoy is a little bit too much for Youngbei. There's the stun on Game Hunter. Youngbei going low. Youngbei going down. Youngbei taken out and completely. Youngbei will be disappeared here as they go for the mid Phoenix. Looks like the mid tower will be first on the billet, but at the same time, C9 just gave away 3 kills for 1.
Yeah, 44 seconds on Youngbei respawning, so it'll be a 4v4 for at least a while once Sun Touch and half have go. But mid tower's going to go down as well. Will they push on for the Phoenix in mid, or will they rotate around for the last tower in the right hand side? Looks like they're going to go on to mid for the time being. Trix tank is going to be the leading party tank in that obs. The healing blessing from Game Hunter is out. Sustain them as much as possible, and that's been a big influence in this dry bear. Those heals from Game Hunter.
Oh, absolutely dominant. I mean, the heals are keeping them alive in their siege. The longer they go, they back off, they heal up, they come right back. And C9 really can't keep up with how high their HP pools are all the time. Even look at Trixtank tanking his tier 2 tower. He's taking a lot of damage, but you can't really tell with how much he's getting healed up by that Raw Solar Blessing. Chalk has a personal heal with that Rain Dance as well. Fire Giant is about looks like about 2-3 minutes away from respawning here. The Gold Fury is even further away, but they do have the Fire Giant buff remaining for just about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. That's going to be a big gain for them.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on Ra's healing ability, but when you look at the whole side of TSM, the only person that doesn't have any inbuilt heal is Apollo. I mean, Trix can jump onto his cloud. In the situation, Icy has the circle of protection. You've got Ra, you've also got Chak, so all of them have sustain of some kind, and it's really paying off for them in these team fights.
Groupie out now, getting what they can out of the jungle and just, kind of just taking that fruit as it comes available. They don't have, beggars can't be choosers. They can't just give this away. They're getting all the jungle buffs up. They're preparing for the Fire Giant buff. The problem is, with 2 Phoenixes down, no towers remaining on C9, and behind by a lot of golden experience, they can't really openly contest the Fire Giant. Apollo's up, looking for the kill on Sio. It imagines the main target here. There's the sun, there's the dunk. Sio pops the ultimate, gets taken out by the Spirit Ball. Now looking for the follow-up here. Sun Touch forces out. There's the Circle Protection. Half Devil is becoming Quarter Devil. Now into 8th Devil. Does he have anything left? He's getting lower and lower and lower. The damage might be enough for Game Hunter. Just needs a Slush still being taken out. There goes the kill. Game Hunter takes him out handily. Now the Titan is available. The right side Phoenix is being taken out like a piece of meat, crumbling down into ruin as the Phoenix will be forced to respawn. There's no Phoenixes left on the map. TSM is looking at week 2 against C9. This is game 2. They already won game 1. The Titan is exposed. There's 3 people charged with defending this Titan, but what can they really do with this much heat bearing down upon them? They have to try to defend this the best that they can, but they don't really have enough damage or protection. They're going for the Titan. Will they be able to get it? TSM is going deep. NQ goes into big baby, but then goes right down into the ground as TSM is your victor for week 2 Smite World Championship qualifiers.
Oh my god, how much do I love EU right now? It's so wide open with TSM taking that game. It's so close at the top after week 2. We're going to see some crazy action next week for sure, because I'm interested to see whether i5 can step it up, Dry Bear, or whether Cloud9 or TSM are going to take a lead. It's going to be so interesting.
That's the biggest thing, right? I mean, everything's tied up. 160 for TSM, 160 for C9. C9 has proven themselves to be great. TSM has proven themselves to be great. Now they're the top contenders. But at the same time, TSM barely pulled out a win over I5 in that semifinal round. So you have to really kind of give them credit with that one. That's a big, big win for them. High amounts of control. And look at Smek shine on TSM. We saw last week 10-1 was the finished game for Youngbei on C9. TSM, Smek playing Apollo is the same score. 10-1-6 himself. 2-0-12. Game Hunter didn't even die that match. Now 1-1-10 for Trix Tank. Beautiful plays across the board. You see a replay up on the screen.
Yeah, I see the replay on the screen now. You're just showing Smek's ability in this game. 10-1-6 he ended. Like I said, in that situation, he also did 11,000 damage to Youngbei's 13,000, so actually behind, but he actually did a good job overall of being there at the right time and picking up those kills at the end. So he's doing a great job for himself. Quick look at the healing chart as well at the end of this game, just to see how much exactly we saw Game Hunter do. He did 10,000 healing that game. 10,000.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. I saw 600 from Ice. That's just the popping, the ultimate. But realistically, that's what he was hoping for, right? He goes full CDR. He goes full man, full control across the board. And he just kind of keeps his team alive while they go crazy on him. Smek doesn't have a lot of damage. You see him kind of going in on that fight there on the left side of the map. There goes the kill. Look how long this fight lasts there on the replay. Beautiful play. But, you know, when it comes down to it, TSM really had a hard time in the beginning, but that really didn't phase them. They pulled it all together. And really, it comes down to the objectives. I think people are really kind of rotating around and really sticking to towers more than they probably should, as soon as the tower goes down in the soul lane just rotates.
Yeah, it seemed that way all the way through. Like, it seemed that TSM, for example, Game Hunter pressured NQ out of lane, and that was one of the examples we saw. And the moment he did that, he called his team, and Kiva Fred and Trixtag turned up and took that tower in that right-hand lane. That was one of the first towers we saw drop. And from then on, it was just objective focus, objective focus, objective focus, all the way through from TSM. Really well played from them. And honestly, they deserved the victory this week.
They definitely deserve it. They're going to have it. 2-0 victory over C9 really proves how strong they can actually be. TSM takes a 2-0 victory, and now we're all tied up for first and second seed for the European side of the Smite World Championship qualifiers, week number 2. Week number 3 will be next week at the same times. Of course, to reiterate, Saturday will be 12 p.m. Eastern, the start for the North American qualifiers, week number 3. For Sunday, it will be 9 a.m. Eastern for the European qualifiers, week number 3. If you're looking for more content on Smite professional plays, definitely check out the youtube.com/Smite Pro, where you'll see MVP plays. You'll see Face Off, the new show starring myself and hi-rez Bart. You'll also see all kinds of highlights for both EU and NA, as well as lots of fun videos like the fails and top 5 plays. So definitely stick around for that. A lot of good content on its way.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing what happens next week from both North America and EU. So really, really good to see.
Oh, absolutely. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. Really appreciate your viewership, and thanks for coming out. Hopefully this day was as awesome as it was for me and for you. For myself and Hindu Man, as well as our moderators, admin staff, production crew, and everyone on board for today, and the viewers at home who just love to watch the scene of Smite, we're signing off today. We'll see you next week.